today I'm going to show you how to make my ribbon wreath. So all I've used to make this is I've used a Lelli-Bot Crafts wreath chippy. I have used a bundle of the Lelli-Bot Crafts ribbon, 25 metres in there. And I've also used the Frosted Christmas A5 stamp set. Now on the particular wreath that I'm going to show you how to make today, I'm going to make a hollow wreath. So it won't have the background like that one has there. So to make the background, all I did was I used the Merry Christmas sentiment stamp from in the A5 stamp set, some of the snowflake stamps and a couple of the stamp sets, star stamps. What I did is I embossed those onto some shimmer card, and then I affixed that to the back of my wreath. But this particular time I'm just going to make a hollow wreath. I'm also going to use the green and the red collection of ribbons and trimmings, and we also do the trimmings in a black and white colour. So you can see that you can get 3 different coloured themed wreaths from the different ribbons that are in there. Okay, so I'm just going to move that to one side and let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the chippy wreath. The reason I'm doing this is because when you then start applying your bows to your wreath, you may have some gaps and you don't want the chippy to be seen through. I did do the same on this one, and I did do the inking with a pale blue ink just so that it can't be seen. But this time I'm going to do it with a red ink. I've just got some of the Tim Holtz Fired Brick Distress ink. I'm just going to take a cotton wool ball and I'm just going to ink all the way around the edge. Okay, as I said, because it's going to be covered anyway with the bows, it doesn't have to be too perfect. It just provides just a little bit of coverage. It just finishes off your projects just that little bit better. And I haven't primed the chippy beforehand. I haven't done anything to it at all. I'm just inking directly onto the top. And obviously I'm using the distress ink, so I won't get a full coverage anyway. But because it's not MDF, you don't really need to do anything to it. The inks will come out slightly darker because obviously the chipboards are grey in colour to start off with naturally. If you wanted the colours to be the bright red colour, you could cover it first hand with paper or some cardboard just so that you start with a white finish. Okay, so I'm just going to ink on the inside, and I'm going to ink around the outside of the edge. Now because I'm leaving this one hollow and I'm not going to put anything in the middle, I am going to ink the back of the chippy too. Now on the blue one that I made, I didn't need to do this because when you are adding the sentiment to the middle section so you can see through, the cardboard or the papers that you choose to use will cover up the back. But just to finish it off, just to make it look a little bit more presentable, I'm just going to ink the back of it too. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way around the outside. Obviously, I just want to do this quickly just to show you. All the way around the outside, just to finish that off around there. Okay, if you wanted to, and you have got some of your alcohol pens, this one's just a red one, I'm just going to go around the edge with the red pen, which you can do just to give a thicker coverage around the edge of there. Okay, so I'm not going to go all the way around, I just wanted to show you how you can use the pens on the chippies too. Okay. Now just so once I start attaching my bows, it's really easy to lose sight of where the top of your wreath is. So I'm just going to add the hanging part of the wreath first. This is a piece of the cord that is from the ribbon bundle. So I'm just going to use that just to tie at the top, make that into a knot, and that will be the hanging section of my wreath. Now when I attached the bows to the wreath for this one, I just use some PVA glue, but obviously it does take a while to dry and you have to sit and hold them in place. Today I'm going to use a hot glue gun just to speed things up a little bit. Okay, so these all started off as lengths of ribbon, as did the ones that I'm going to use today. And from this bundle of ribbon, I have made a selection of bows. So all I've done is I've used some of the ribbon to make double bows in there. I've got some bows and then they're layered on top of other bows, double bows. I've got some triple ones in there. A really handy tip with the leftover bits. So say you've come to the end of using your scraps of ribbon and you haven't got enough left to make another bow with, if you get another scrap and just tie them in a knot in the middle, like so, you will end up with these cute little ties, and they're really good for filling in the gaps around your wreath. Okay, if you've got a bow maker, you can have a go at making your bows this way. My bows, I just use 2 loops and I just tie them in a knot like this. Tie them in a knot, tighten them up, and then I just gently tidy them up by cutting off, oops, the hanging down bits. If you want to do a bow that's got more than one strand to it, so if I use this cord, this ribbon, so I've got 3 there, all I would do is I would take the end in my right hand, because I'm right-handed, tighten a loop, tie them in another loop, and then tie the 2 loops in a knot. But as I said, if you've got a bow maker or if you're using pre-made bows, you can do it that way. This is just a nice easy way, using up scraps of ribbon to make a nice simple Christmas wreath. Okay, so once you've got all your bows and your bits of ribbon together, all you need to do then is to start assembling your wreath. So to start mine, all I do is I get some of the plainer ribbons and I gently, because I want to save the brighter coloured ones for the top. I don't want all the red ones at the top, I want some of the brighter ones. So I'm just going to take the strands of glue off if you're using your glue gun as you go, and then they're not left afterwards. Some of the plainer bows, and I'm just going to spread them out around my wreath. Now what I found is if you are doing something in the middle, an image or a sentiment, you may want to stick your bows to the outer edge so that it's not covering up the middle bit of your sentiment. Whereas if we're leaving it hollow like we are doing today, it doesn't really matter too much because you're not putting anything in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to now start with some of what I call my more fancier bows. And all you need to do is just work your way around the outside, making sure that the colours are even. They don't have to match all the way around, you know, just make sure that they're even. And I'm using a hot glue gun. You don't have to use a hot glue gun. You can use PVA like I did on my other one. It doesn't always have to be the hot glue all of the time. And I'm just going to pull those strands off there. Okay, so work your way around. Just going to pause the video while I speed things up a little bit. Okay, so I've now attached all of my ribbons to my wreath, and I've just got the last few to finish off. Now, what I tend to do with my scraps of ribbons that are left, they're too small to make bows with, so I just tie them round and then you end up with nice little ties. So if you've got any gaps where you just need, there's too small for a bow but it's big enough just to fit one of these little ties in, just adds a bit of an extra detail, and you're using up your scraps of ribbon really without wasting them. Okay, so I'm just going to push it through there just to fill in the little hole, and just adds that rustic look to your wreath. So there's just one over there, so I'm just going to fill, and you can trim them down, so once they're on and you think, oh, that's sticking out a little bit too much, You can trim it down afterwards. So that would stick in there and hide under my bow, but it would just fill in a little bit of a gap. So can you just see how that's just sticking out a little bit too much? I would just probably just trim that down slightly. Oops, might help if I trimmed it down straight. Like that, and then it isn't sticking out as much, doesn't look odd, but it just fills in that little gap in there. Okay, so just to finish off, I've just made a bow. This was just from the net within the pack and some of the cord. I've just layered it on top of each other, glued it together, and I'm just going to use that at the very top as my main bow on my wreath, and that would go on. I'm just going to hold that in place just for a little bit longer. Okay, so there you go. That would be your wreath outline. I'm just going to add a little bit more just to the top there. Just feel it's just a little bit bare up there. So I'm just going to add a little bit in there and a little bit of that side. And then just to finish everything off, I'm just going to use some of the pearls, again from the Lelli-Bot Crafts website. And in this particular pack we've got cream, there's blue, there's red, black. So I'm just going to use the red ones, the larger red ones, just to finish everything off. So I'm just going to use some of the silicone glue. I'm just going to drop pearl on the top of there. And then all the way around where I can see the middle of my bows peeking through. Just going to drop a pearl on there. Just going to maybe put one on there. This just finishes everything off, ties it all together. I think the pearls just add a little bit of luxury, very Christmassy, and just finish your gift off. Just going to put one more just on there. Get the right way around. That one on there. So as you can see, two very, very different wreaths. There is one that's got an open back, nothing in the middle, just made using ribbons, and the blue and the white one using the Frosted Christmas collection, and then I've put a back on to that one. Nice and easy ribbon wreath project. Thank you.